If you are listening to this podcast, it means you're searching for someone who understands you, someone who gets you. You are yearning to be understood and to belong. Welcome to the Someone Gets Me podcast, where we help smart, talented, and sensitive people navigate an often insensitive world. I am Dianne Allen, your host. My roles as ambassador, author, speaker, and intuitive mentor for bright and talented people are woven into each episode. I have the experience and knowledge to educate and inspire, as I have been there and I understand your unique intensities, sensitivities, and challenges. Welcome. Mental health awareness and neurodivergence. Hi friends, it's Dianne, and we today are going to talk about mental health and neurodivergence. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and often people talk about mental health and mental illness as if they are the same, and they are not the same in my world, and in fact there is some intersection, but I really want to talk about mental health. How do you, as a neurodivergent person, appreciate or pay attention to your own mental health? See, we're trained in Western society that we look at our mental health only when something is going wrong, or we're stressed or burned out, or there's a problem. Well, yes, of course, we want to look at things when there's a challenge or a problem. And I suggest that we start looking at our mental health and our health in all areas, actually, from a place of what can I do to continue to grow and enhance and expand my health, my awareness, and my understanding. So I want to share today some ways you can enhance your mental health, some ways you can use these things as maybe a barometer, that if you notice yourself being off, that you can attend to your mental health in a way that serves you before it becomes a problem. So one of the first things that I notice is that people whose mental health is doing really well are able to notice and appreciate beauty all around them. Whether it's flowers or the moon or the breeze or their pets or other humans or their own heartbeat. People whose mental health are doing well notice that beauty. They don't always have to say something about it, but they notice the beauty, and sometimes they even express it. I work a lot with musicians and other creative people, and I will see that when their mental health is really expanding and they're feeling wonderful, that their creative genius is much more alive. Their ability to connect to beauty is greater. For myself, it's a similar thing. When my mental health is really doing well, I notice the flowers more acutely. Or earlier today, I was walking my dog, and there were these most beautiful, very small little blue butterflies. And I could stand there and appreciate them and just be in that moment. Whereas if I was stressed or depressed or burned out or distracted in some way, maybe those butterflies wouldn't have even caught my attention. And maybe I wouldn't have even stood there to watch them for a minute. I would have been in a hurry to finish the walk and move on. So that ability to slow down and notice the beauty around you is a really nice barometer to be able to say, my mental health is humming right along. It's doing well. Because, all of parts of us are living on like a sine wave, up and down. And so when we get caught in the diagnostic part or the pathologizing everything, then we get ourselves stuck on one side of that wave. And as an intensely sensitive person, it has overexcitabilities and spiritual connection. It is very easy to feel all of those things at once. Or you might be feeling really mentally strong, but physically a little tired. It's all okay. It's about awareness. And it's about not labeling yourself as sick or bad or wrong. Another thing that you can notice when your mental health is doing well is that you are able to have an attitude of delight. I love that word, delight. You can have delightful days. Things delight you. You smile for maybe no apparent reason, or the smallest things catch your attention and you grin and you smile and you delight in it, whether it's a color or a taste, or maybe a behavior or something that happens that you do or someone else does. You can delight in the little things, you can delight in the nuance of life, and you can smile with that ability to appreciate the little things. That's one of the ways you can tell when your mental health is doing really well. Because when your mental health isn't doing really well, what happens? You tend to notice everything that's wrong, or there are struggles, or there are problems. And we notice those more. Another way that you can tell that your mental health is doing well is that there is a conspicuous absence of self-judgment and judgment of others. Now, judgment and discernment are different, right? Judgment means that I notice something and then I assign a value to it. Discernment means I look at something and notice it. So we can discern that something is not for us without judging it. But when we get in that place of assigning value to another person or an action or a behavior from somebody, including ourselves, right, then we ought to pay attention to our mental health, because judgment often, not always, but often comes from some fear in there that could be negatively impacting us or skewing our observation. So, like I said, mental health is not the same as mental illness. It's more about, is my mental awareness, my capacity, my observation, my assessments, my processing, is it working in my favor? Is it doing the right thing? Am I humming along? Is my functioning where I would like it to be? Now, people who have really good mental health also are gentle with themselves. They know how to have self-compassion and how to be gentle with their ability to function in life and do things. Now, gifted people and neurodivergent people, we have often a lot of demands. We live in a culture with a ton of input and things happening all the time. Like, I get around 400 emails a day, and sometimes I can't get to them all in one day. And sometimes I can't even get to all the text messages in one day. And I'm sure there's many people who I know, and I know listening to this show, that that's the same for them too. There's a lot happening, a lot of stimulus. So sometimes just slowing down and being gentle with ourselves is something that is very desirable. That's how we know when our mental health is doing really well. There will sometimes be a whole day over the weekend, or maybe even in the middle of the week, where I will just slow down, take care of me, and trust that the next right thing will happen. And I may not get to all my emails that day, or I may not work in that frenzied pace that the world wants us to. I might say, okay, I'm doing a different pace because it's what's the best thing for my health, my physical and mental health, always. So being gentle with yourself is another sign of very good mental health. Now, another thing I want to talk about here too is making your words matter. That your words do count, and your self-talk is very important, because your brain believes your own voice above all others. So if you're in your brain and your inner dialogue is dangerous, and you don't have a safe trip through it, or you're judging other people, or there's anger or fear or hostility or any of those things going on in our mind, that affects our mental health. Even if we say, well, I'm just thinking about this. Well, what we're thinking about, our brain believes. The questions we ask, our brain must answer, even if it has to make it up. So our words matter. Our inner dialogue matters. The way we speak to ourselves matters. So are you kind and compassionate toward yourself for all the nuances of your divergence? Are you kind and compassionate and patient with yourself for the way your executive functioning and your problem solving work? Are you gentle and kind with others who process the world differently than you? See, a lot of people, think that neurodivergence is just one or two specific things. Well, I think everyone's neurodivergent in the sense that no two people are the same. No two of us have the same neurology or the same biology, and no two people have the same autobiography. So the truth is, all of us process and experience the world differently. Yes, there's language that points to the ideas and the common understanding, so we have a point of intersection in our interactions. And it's still not exactly the same. If right now I told you to grab a piece of paper and draw for me a stove, and then we took pictures of all the stoves you all drew, there'd be lots of differences, but yet they would all be stoves. So our differences help our mental health when we allow ourselves to embrace the fact that no two people do the world the same. And we live in a society that wants us to think most people are the same and only a few of us are different. I think all of us are different some way, somehow, to different degrees. So when we can step back for a moment and give ourselves a little compassion and some love and some kindness, and we can hold that same space for others, where we can be open to learning, receptive to new ways, both within us and outside of us, our mental health grows. So when you notice beauty and when you have an attitude of delight and you can release judgment, you've got yourself on the road to more expansive, more beautiful, more powerful experience of mental health. Because your mental health is always fluid, it's always moving. And that's the beauty of it. Your mental health is intrinsically connected to your emotional health. They are not the same thing. It is connected to your physical health. Your mental health is connected to your spiritual health, to your social health. They're all intrinsically connected. So paying attention to our mental health is really good for all the other parts of our body, all of the other parts of our being, all of the other parts of our health. Paying attention to your physical health helps your mental health. Paying attention to your spiritual health, which is your connection to your purpose, that part also helps out your mental health. And of course, paying attention to your emotional health helps your mental health. And again, they are not the same thing. Your emotions are the energy that tell you you're alive. They're the flow of the energy through you. And yes, it intersects with your mental health. But your mental health is about your belief systems. It's about your self-talk. It's about your mind, your brain, the way your neurology is functioning, which includes part of your emotions, but not all of them. So there's intersections, and they're not synonymous. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's important that we become, all of us, more and more aware of the things that are necessary to help us have really good, strong mental health. So one of the things that I do every day is I spend quiet time just breathing and being compassionate and kind. Then you want to do some physical activity or maybe some journaling or something that's creative. Delight in the world around you. Allow yourself to experience the beauty of your own essence, of your own being. Allow yourself to really honor the way you do you. Because when you're doing you, there's nothing more beautiful in the world than that. So I hope that this episode has served you and reminded you that mental health is not simply mental illness awareness, it's mental health awareness. And we all, no matter who we are, have some level of mental health. So let's be aware of how we're taking care of our mind. Maybe change our diet a little bit, or do some more meditation, or pay attention to our belief systems, but to allow ourselves to continue to expand our awareness and our understanding. Remember, friends, that as we think about mental health, that your mental health is paramount. You being aware and appreciative of other people's mental health is also important. I hope this episode has served you. Remember to put your face to the sun so the shadows fall behind you, because you are a rock star. You're here on purpose with a mighty, mighty purpose. So go out there and smile and allow your mental health to show you the beauty of your own being. Until the next episode of Someone Gets Me, be well. Are you tired of searching for someone to understand you? Join our Facebook group, Someone Gets Me. In this group, you will be able to connect with others who are intense, sensitive, smart, and talented. I share my insights and teachings, and you can connect with others in a real, authentic, safe forum. So join us today. Someone Gets Me.